up until 40 years ago for people to determine who is the father of a child. And sometimes I think perhaps women don't realize how important that is, because as a woman, if you have a kid, you know for certain that that's your child. However, as a man, absent the paternity test, or you know that she's a virgin and she's only been with you, there's a component of paternity uncertainty, which is pretty much, if you're raising a child that you think is yours but is not, that's pretty much the biggest L that you can take.
I also think it's a way that in society people use to control and oppress women as well as that.
Wait, what?
Like valuing
monogamy?
Virginity so much.
How does that oppress women?
Well, because sometimes they'll be told that they're worth less if they have that, or they'll be controlled and only have certain things that they can do because on the basis that they need to maintain their virginity.
Well, I mean, okay, so there's a religious component that I suppose started about 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
I think chastity was valued up until very recently for both men and women for religious reasons, chiefly. Although that's kind of been eroded away by modernity, I guess you could say. But
I mean, I think if you want to look at like male-female sexual relations for 99.999% of human history, you need to get out of the mind. That's not how it was for most of human history. Like as a man, if you are going to be raising a child, you want to make sure with 100% certainty it is your child. You don't want a woman that is sleeping with multiple men, because then you don't know what's going on, right? And so this is one of the reasons why virginity is so valuable back in the day.
I completely understand that, and I think that that's true. I'm just saying I feel like that can be used like on the guise of that to like control women as well, like more so.
I think that, like Brian pointed out, I think that
a women being abused or not having say over themselves, because that is like the main thing that men are concerned about is her virginity, and that can go above her like condition and her right.
Well, Matt brought up
history.
Matt brought up a really good point about birth control, and so ignoring the paternity uncertainty thing, this was something that would fall more so upon women. If you engaged in sex with somebody prior to there being birth control, like pretty good chance you might get pregnant and can't get abortions are fairly, there's history. But in any case, without birth control and without abortion, there wasn't, 300 years ago, if you have sex with somebody, like not really a way out if you get pregnant, or there's not really a way to prevent a pregnancy. So I don't think it's about control. It's just the biological reality that if you get pregnant, like that's kind of a big deal. And especially without modern healthcare too. I think like the healthcare, if you got pregnant as a woman, like, bro, there's a chance you fucking die. I
think that you can imagine in a world, like, let me ask you this, in a world where there's no birth control and you've got a very high risk of getting pregnant if you have sex with a man, are you going to be as promiscuous in that world as you are in this world? Probably not, because there's a very high chance that man you just had sort of casual, promiscuous, flippant sex with, you might get pregnant. You might be tied down for life with that man. You got to carry his child into the world and deal with that man for the rest of your life. And so it's from a female's point of view also, 100 years ago, 200, 300, 400, 1,000 years ago. As a woman, you probably don't want to be promiscuous either. It's not a man keeping you down, it's you don't want to be promiscuous, because if you have sex with that man, you might be tied down forever with that guy. You bring his child into this world. Your body gets pregnant, you go through crazy changes, right? It's in the woman's interest, back then at least, it's a different conversation now that we have birth control, I guess, but for most human history, it's in the woman's interest to not be promiscuous either. It's in the man's and the woman's.